Hello, everyone. Today is July 27th, so let's do a quick analysis to see how the market will be today. My analyses and opinions are purely personal and should not be considered investment advice. You are responsible for your own entry and exit points. And today, how did we see BTC close its daily candle? BTC closed the daily candle as a green candle with quite strong momentum. However, we can see that it is moving up to the resistance zone. And as it moves up to this resistance zone, how should we approach it? To begin with, we can clearly see that BTC on the daily candle has very strong momentum, eventually closing out at the price of approximately 65,590. And next today, this red candle here continues to move up and touches the 65,700 zone. And as we can clearly see, USDTD has officially closed with a red candle, clearly demonstrating very strong downward momentum. And we can see that the candle has touched the significant support zone right now. Next, looking at today, the green candle continues to go down even deeper, meaning it drops further and significantly. At this point, we can clearly see that on the daily candle, the dominance of USDTD has quite strong upward momentum, while Bitcoin is simultaneously experiencing a drop, now sitting at 64,900. And now let's continue to look at the 4-hour time frame chart, so we can further analyze the situation. What exactly do you see on the 4-hour chart? On this chart, we can clearly see that BTC has steadily climbed up into this zone. What zone is this? It's a very important resistance zone, and a bearish reversal candle has formed right here. This candle is a confirmation candle. Confirmation of what? Confirmation that the buying side pushed the price up, and when it hit the resistance zone, it created a price reaction. At this moment, we can see BTC is dropping to 64,856. And we can see that when BTC pushed up to this resistance zone, a reversal candle appeared. This one looks like a hammer candle, and there's also a confirmation candle here. If we look at USDT.D, what exactly are we seeing right now? USDT.D has descended all the way down to the support zone. When it dropped to this 8.26% support zone, our BTC was able to rise to 65,700. And after it dropped to this support zone, you can clearly observe that a reversal doji formed here, along with a bullish engulfing confirmation candle. After forming a reversal doji and a bullish engulfing confirmation candle right here at the support zone, we can see that a reversal candle and a bullish engulfing confirmation candle have appeared, indicating that the green upward momentum is returning. This means that BTC has formed a reversal candle and a bearish confirmation candle, which means that right here at this specific point, the selling side has successfully gained the upper hand. Where do we expect BTC to retest? We expect BTC to retest this bottom, which is TB1 at 64,000. If the momentum is strong, it will drop down to this wick, which is 63,000. So what exactly do we see in today's market outlook? Of course, once this specific candle finally closes, showing a clear reversal doji followed by a strong bearish engulfing confirmation, naturally our technical view is that BTC should definitely be shorted right now. Currently, I am holding a short position. Why short? If the price action wicks down to this specific level, we are unable to enter into a new position just yet. However, it has already formed a clear reversal doji here, followed by a strong bullish engulfing candle, confirming that the price has indeed gone back up. This means that BTC has closed a reversal candle here and a confirmation bearish candle here, showing that the sellers have gained the upper hand. Right now, we will open up a new short position. And exactly which entry points will we take for our short? Here, we can see on the H1 time frame. What do we observe on the H1 time frame? On the H1 time frame, we can see that it is still in a structure of lower highs and lower lows. We can see that yesterday BTC dropped to 63,700 and then rebounded to 65,700. It retested this wick. Based on the reaction method, we will now draw a horizontal line right across here. If it retraces and breaks above this high, then according to the reaction method, we can identify this specific point as the lowest high and this as the lowest low. We draw a line across, and if it retraces and breaks this high, then the downtrend on the H1 time frame ends and it becomes an uptrend. However, it went up, retested this wick, and then moved down. Here, we can see that it formed a hammer candlestick, indicating a trend reversal, followed by a confirmation candle, showing that the sellers have gained control, retesting the resistance zone once again. However, we can see that it tried to retest, but the bullish momentum was quite weak, as shown by these two rather feeble green candles, and immediately after, a strong bearish engulfing candle formed, pushing the price down sharply. The body of the candle surpasses the two green candles, indicating that bearish strength has emerged. So what does this tell us? According to the price action method, it still hasn't broken above this peak. So on the H1 time frame, it's still a downtrend. We can see that the reversal candlestick pattern has formed on H1, and the reversal candlestick pattern has also formed on H4 for both BTC and USDTD. This means that we should open a short position. So where should we enter the short position? When a reversal candlestick and a confirmation candlestick like this are formed, the point where we enter is around 65,200. That right there is the first point where we will enter the trade. The second entry will be located at approximately the 66,000 level. Why is that? Because it could completely retest this peak. Here, it's still its resistance zone at the two peaks. The probability that it won't break through the double top resistance zone is very high. However, it can still completely retest this peak at 66,800. So for the first entry, we should enter somewhere around 65,250. The second entry is around 66,000 to 66,500. And if we cut at 67,000, then the probability is high that we'll have a higher win rate in this trend. So at the very least, it has already confirmed a downtrend here, but it can still go up to retest this peak. So our second entry will be placed up here. That means here we can use about 2% of our capital. And if it continues to rise to 66,500, we can use another 2% of our capital, but we must cut our losses at this resistance zone, which is from 67,000 to 67,200. If we cut our losses here, it's not ideal at all because it could easily retest this peak before going down. Previously, we saw it tested this peak and then tested this peak again. If we draw it out, over here, there's a zone that's considered resistance on a smaller time frame, right? But according to the price action method, what do we know? If it still hasn't broken this peak on the H1 time frame, if it still hasn't broken this peak on H1, then we can see that the downtrend on H1 is still ongoing. That means if the price comes up here to retest this area and still hasn't broken this peak, then our downtrend is still continuing. So we can still expect our first take profit, our first target to be somewhere around 63,800 to 64,000. For the second take profit target, we can expect a significantly deeper level, which is situated just below this wick, right around the $63,000 mark with this specific short order. So in summary, when a confirming candlestick pattern forms right here, signaling a clear reversal on the H1 USDTD chart, and when this particular pin bar forms to confirm a continued uptrend, then we can clearly see that the price will rise. And if its structure remains intact, right, its overall structure, then it can absolutely continue to go up even further. Why is that? Because when it tested this bottom, it still hasn't broken through this bottom. If we draw it out, it's just a false breakout, you see. So the upward structure on the H1 USDTD chart is still intact. And the downward trend on the H1 BTC chart is also still present because it still hasn't surpassed this peak. According to the price action method, we identify the highest peak and the lowest bottom, then draw a trend line through them. If the price action breaks through, then the current downtrend ends and a new uptrend forms. But since it is still in a downtrend, it could continue to test and possibly drop further down to $63,000, which is entirely possible. So with this short position, our first take profit target is 63,800 to 64,000. For the second take profit, we expect 63,000 or even a bit lower at this bottom, which is 62,800. However, why do we split the order into two entries? Because it could completely retest this previous peak. We have to split it into two separate entry points. For the second entry, we should look to enter somewhere around 66,500 within this peak area. And we will set the stop loss at 67,000. So, the overall outlook for BTC at this point, when reversal candlestick patterns have formed for USDT on the H1 and H4 timeframes at the support zone, is that we expect it to continue moving upward. For example, with USDTD, we expect it to retest and move up to the 8.4% area and then continue rising to 8.5%. If it reaches 8.4% or 8.5%, then our BTC will likely pull back to somewhere around 64,000 or 63,000. So we need to keep an eye on it at that point. But at this point, looking at USDT on the H4 or H1 time frame, it already meets the conditions to continue rising. And when it rises, BTC will drop, right? So what should we do at this point? We've identified that the trend is for USDTD to continue rising, which means BTC will decrease. Therefore, we open short positions, and for the shorts, we split them into two entries, one at 65,200 and the second at 66,500, with a stop loss at 67,000. And where do we take profit? We will take profit at this bottom here, right? This bottom is from 63,800 to 64,000. The second bottom is from 62,800 to 63,000. That is our second take profit target. All right, that's my analysis of BTC. If you find this helpful, please follow my channel and give me a like and click the notification bell to watch my new videos every day. Thank you for watching the video.